let's move on from the virtual players and get back in touch with the actual players who will be gearing up to resume play in the coming weeks. So Robert, Darren, who have you managed to catch up with?
Well, I didn't have to reach out very far to get in touch with Janewattananond. He has been stuck here at Bay Hill for this entire lockdown, really, since the players. He drove down, and he has been staying with two-time tour winner Daniel Chopra, who's been nice enough to put him and his caddy Cam up with a place to stay. That was yesterday on the 18th tee at Bay Hill, and Jazz he's number 39 in the world. This guy is a legit great golfer, not one that everyone in America knows, but you're going to know him eventually. He hits it so good. He didn't hit such a good putt there, but don't worry about that putt. That's the only one I filmed. But he did play in a tournament the other day. He's been going a little nuts like the rest of us, and he went to a West Florida golf tour event in Sarasota, and he said, man, I was rusty. 71. It wasn't too bad. He got $98 back, so... But I don't think his entry fee was more than $98, so probably lost a little bit. But just rusty, trying to play a lot of golf, and he is in Colonial, so he's getting ready for Colonial. And look out for him. Great golfer, young, and really cocky. Good guy.
I'm writing it down because I know you've gotten in his pocket, and he's probably gotten in your pocket a little bit over this lockdown. The player that I reached out to was Angela Stanford. Speaking of Texas, she's on lockdown in Texas. But prior to the COVID-19 breakout pandemic, she was actually running in the LA Marathon. This was 2 weeks before Founders Cup in Phoenix, Arizona. She'd driven out for the West Coast swing, stopped in LA first, drove up to Napa for the weekend before she was going to head down to Phoenix. She was actually just outside LA on her way back towards Phoenix, Arizona, when she found out that the Founders Cup was postponed or canceled, and a lot of their season, of course, at that time. So drove all the way back to Texas, where she is now. She talks about how she was super excited about the start of this season, not only because of all the training that she had done, but a lot of the work that she'd done with her golf coach. And she felt like she was in fifth gear and now has to dial it back to gear 1 or 2. You can see the hitting bay that she actually installed over this break in her garage. She has a home gym now and a home golf net. She said she's trying to do a little bit every single day just to stay fresh, but she doesn't want to be mentally fatigued. This is a game of moving targets, especially for the LPGA that just recently postponed back to July. So trying to stay fresh as best she can in this situation.
Staying fresh, and anyone who runs the marathon I just have such a huge respect for. Well, someone else who possibly isn't known for his attempts for running the marathon, I caught up with European Tour player Eddie Pepperell, and now he has sort of been working on his fitness though, because obviously he's in lockdown back in the UK and no golf courses are open, but he's going on this new carnivore diet. So it's purely just based on meat products, a lot of bone broth, I've been told, meat and veg, and you can see him there with a delicious looking lamb shank. I have to say the man is looking trimmer. But also to kill some time, it's really funny, guys. You have to tune in. He's launched his new weekly, very funny podcast, the Pepper Pod, that he's been hosting alongside Andrew Cotter, who's a Scottish sports commentator who I'm sure you all know. And it's just sort of weekly, mundane ramblings of life down in lockdown. A little bit of golf kind of knowledge and trivia thrown in there, but it's mainly just life on the Corona coaster, as they call it, and the ups and downs. He said the highlight of his week last week was changing the water filters around his house. So things are getting very exciting for Eddie Pepperell. Hasn't picked up a single club in 7 weeks because there's really nowhere to play back at home. So he's keeping himself busy, learning to play the guitar terribly, as you can hear on the podcast. But it's worth tuning into because it's just something to pass a bit of time, Damon Hack.
Lamb shake and a glass of wine. Now that's a diet I can get into. And it sounds like everybody's trying to get in shape. Everybody's trying to get a little bit longer off the tee, which leads me to my note. I spoke to two-time PGA Tour winner Len Matisse. He's trying to make his way now on the 50 and over set on PGA Tour champion. Said he's trying to get longer off the tee to that end. He picked up a Maverick driver from Callaway, 9 degrees in February. Found 10 yards off the tee, now nearly topping off at 300 yards a pop. Also trying to create some power and speed through hip rotation. Said he's trying to hold that club face square, Robert, and not have that flippiness that shut club face at impact. It's something I've heard quite a bit through the years, kind of holding off that club face square instead of having that shut face at impact. What's your thoughts on that?
Why did it take him so long? Are my thoughts on that. Actually, it's amazing what we were taught back in the day as opposed to kind of what we know now, because we used to try to get the toe to pass through impact and the club face to keep rotating. But when you do that, the face is only aimed at the target for a very short amount of time, and you better time it up just right. So holding it square with hip speed is actually a pretty good idea. So you're getting extra yardage and straighter. So who doesn't want to hit it longer and straighter?
Exactly. In my career, I actually went through this exact same transition and went from over 100th in greens and regulation to 19th in 1 year. So not only look at the distance, check out that accuracy when he does come back.